Well, good morning, Ginny Barn Cat. How are you doing? Good to see you, sweetie. Whoa, would you guys look at that? Yeah, there's definitely something going on that I'll talk to you about at the end of this video, but first we gotta do farm chores. Come along with me, young Ginevra. It is another beautiful morning here on the farm. The sun's not quite shining yet, but we do have a nice mystical foggy morning going here. Good morning, Abby dog. How are you doing, sweetie? Disconnect the fence and we'll visit with our goat friends in just a minute. You know, one weird thing I've noticed lately is ever since the goats have arrived, Abby has started to post up as this spot as her permanent place. And Toby dog likes to garden the back. And so when I come out here first thing in the morning, usually Toby's hanging in the back and Abby's on goat patrol. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi. Good to see you. Oh, it's good to see both of these dogs. I love you both. Yeah. Let's see if we can encourage the fellas to come out here and do a little weed cleanup, because we still have a lot of weeds over here, and there are a lot less weeds these days over here. Good morning, boys. Oh my gosh, would you look at their goatees? Lauren, even you've got it. Oh man, they have a ridiculous amount of burdock in all of their goatees. I just plucked out the ones out of Lauren's beard and plucked some hairs along with it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get Barney and Telly's. We'll try to figure that one out before the end of farm chores too. Oh my gosh, would you look at this? This spider web just sort of formed overnight. These spiders work quickly, but they also work beautifully. Would you look at that? That is some real craftsmanship right there. Come on, boys. There's so much area for you to eat and munch. Look at all this good stuff. We got some burdock, which is the stuff you already got in your beard. Yeah, I know, Telly, you're excited about that. We got some lamb's quarter. We got some vetch, goldenrod. There's all sorts of good stuff out here. I'm gonna let you guys just kind of explore this morning and do your thing, just so that she gives them a little space. I've got Abby hanging out in the chicken jungle for a minute. Abby, I'll let you out in a couple minutes, but first I wanna get the goats comfortable. Maybe get you working over here today. There's some more of that lamb's quarter that I know you like so much. And I know you're already becoming quite friendly with the chickens. Morning, chickens. If you want to do some of the remaining catnip, you can. I grew so much catnip this year, it's like ridiculous. But yeah, trimming around that's exactly what I like to see. So you'll actually notice I'm starting to do some of my winter prep this week, and actually later today, probably at the end of this video, you'll see me doing even more. I'm actually in the process right now of building out my winter cattle yard. This is where all the female cattle are going to spend the winter. It's actually a bigger space than what they had last year and the last couple of years. And so just from that standpoint alone, I think it's gonna work out pretty well. The other thing about this cattle yard is I'm gonna need to build some shelters, and that's not gonna happen today, but you'll see that in a future video. So my bull and my steer are gonna still spend their time over there near the barn. I'm like clearing a lot of this stuff out. A lot of what's gonna happen over here this winter is gonna be hay storage. And just as I've gotten into the practice of taking care of the cattle over the winter, I'm feeling like I'm starting to fine tune my system, where this setup is gonna be much easier to clean out. This setup is gonna be much easier to feed them hay, because it's just a simple, bring it from over there, bring it over here, and then the boys will be over here. And so there's even less risk of accidental impregnation. When it comes time to start putting the cattle out to pasture, I can take the females and do it slowly and have them start to work the lower permaculture orchard, which is where my heifers are right now. The advantage is once a cow calves and she and her calf are ready to go out on grass, I can start to send them out early, kind of away from the rest of the herd. But for the cows that are still waiting to calve, I can actually take my time and hold them back and keep them separate, which will give me a chance to just take care of the mom better, take care of the calf better, monitor their health better in the early days, and just do a better job. And so again, it's one of those things that when you're starting out as a farmer and you're just beginning, and I still very much consider myself a beginner, like one of the things you've got to do is just learn how to constantly keep refining your system. And so what my plans are for here is just going to be another refinement of the system. The other thing that you're going to notice here is I have this black poly piping that I have running all the way from where my water hydrant is down to here. That way, if I need to, I can run water from the hydrant right to where the cattle are going to be this winter, and it'll be easy to get them watered as I need it. I'm still working on running some black poly pipe out to the spring that's way back there, and that line is going to run all the way down here, also to where the cattle are going to be. But in case anything goes wrong, or in case something freezes and I have a problem over the winter, I wanted to make sure I had a second plan and a second option for water, just so I wouldn't be totally screwed come winter time. And so that's why I'm gonna have two lines. I'm gonna have the spring line and I'm gonna have the hydrant line. And my hope is that really between the two of them, it'll make watering my cattle very easy this year. Please don't mind my entourage. They're just hanging out with me here. And oh my gosh, it's getting to be that time of year where it looks like somebody bombed a pillow factory on the farm. She's got feathers everywhere. These feathers are totally natural, just comes from mostly the ducks and geese going through their molting process. They'll be totally composted by the time the spring rolls around, but right now it's sort of like peak buildup. Then the winter and the snow comes, and then they end up going away with all these other weeds and just basically fertilize the ground. Now we have our young Americana rooster. This guy is probably going to end up in the pot just because he's related to so many of the other birds in my flock. I'm not sure, but I think this second one is also a rooster. That first one that you saw is definitely a rooster. And that right there is a hungry barnacus. Yeah, see, I just like letting them do their thing. You know, I let all the grass and weeds go crazy this spring because I wanted to make sure I had ample food for my pollinators, and particularly my honeybees. And as far as the honeybees go, it's been a very good summer. You know, we started with 2 hives, and then we added 2 hives. We're gonna go into winter with 4 hives this year. And by this time next year, I might actually be in the honey business here on the farm, but I don't know, we'll see. Okay, Abby dog, we're gonna let you out. Come on out, girl. Don't cause mischief with the goats though. They're doing a job today. You are not to get bossy with them and push them around. You're to let them do what they want to do. Abby, no! Stop! What was it? What did I just tell you? Don't chase them, okay? The goats are like, we don't want to be anywhere near her. And I got to admit, I don't blame them. Fill up this chicken feeder this morning. So now you can actually see some of the things that I've been doing with this poly pipe. That point right there is going to be the highest possible point where the pipe sits. And then it's going to basically be just one big downhill slide to get to where the cattle are. The reason for that is what I want it to do is that every time I put water into it, I want it to be able to drain out. That way I can come out here, fill up the water troughs for the cattle, but then it's also really easy to have it just naturally drain out and not freeze so that I can use it every single time and not worry about that freezing. Because when you're managing water here in Vermont, trying to figure out a way to avoid freezing and having hoses and pipes freeze, it's just a very important part of being able to take care of your animals and making your life easier. And so for you guys who are out there thinking about your plans for the winter and your homesteads and farms, definitely make sure you're gonna have a good solid plan for how you're gonna manage your water. All right, let's let out our baby chickens. We gotta fill up this feeder too. So I've been testing out using these little things to make feeders. Overall, it's okay, but what I find is they always leave some feed in here. It tends to get a little wet and caked and gross. I think my recommendation is to not recommend them. Good morning, teenage birds. Hang on, I'll hook you up with some water. And I've got some enjoyable table scraps that I know you're gonna love. Sometimes when I cook and I have like grease that I don't want to recook with, I'll dump it in the chicken scraps. And yes, the little chickens are loving the chicken jungle. Do you see that rooster chick I was talking about earlier? Or teenage cockerel, I guess I should call him. He's actually curious, and I think he wants to join these guys pretty soon. And would you look at some of the interesting coloring we have on some of these? Like, look at that black and white one. There's some pretty birds that we have here. All right, we need to do cattle chores, but what I want to do first is test out a new device I'm working on. I like to call this Goat Pro 2.0. And basically, I have this harness that I've used before with Abby. Abby dog, do you think this is gonna work? Yeah, I'm not sure either. Hey, Lauren, I got a surprise for you. They're like, surprises? We love surprises. Well, here, why don't you check that out for a second? Whoa, 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 hey, everybody can share, everybody can share. All right, boys, you be good. And we'll check back in later to see how the Goat Pro is working. Come on, Abby, you're coming with me. All right, you ready to do cattle, Abby dog? Turn off the fence. Just for the record, I love this thing. It brings just that little bit of extra joy to farm life every single day. At this point, Abby really does know the routine of coming here to do the chores. I still don't feel great about leaving her up here unsupervised for long periods of time, so that's why she's still down the hill. But she does a nice job of marking her territory and creating a presence of a dog here help with managing the predators. Are you making another deposit, Abby? I feel like I should make a t-shirt that says something like peeing to prevent coyotes. She sees a turkey vulture flying ahead, and so she starts barking. That's also good. I feel like the biggest risk I have for my chickens out here are the aerial predators. Good morning, Crew to Moo. How's it going, Macho Man? Good to see you, buddy. How are you doing, Annabelle? I'm pretty sure, based on what I saw yesterday, that Annabelle might be in heat, so I want to keep my distance a little bit from Macho Man. Not that I'm really worried about him, but you never want to get between a bull and one of his ladies, particularly when they're at that time of the month. I think most of the cattle are bred. I think the only two that I've seen go back into additional heat cycles has been Annabelle and Amanda Hug and Kiss, who you see right here. Like all last week, Amanda was Macho Man's girlfriend. This week, he doesn't seem to be that much interested in her. Hey, sweetie, good to see ya. You know, she used to be so terrified of me when she first came here. So nice to see her happy like that. How's it going, Joseph? Wow, look at this hole. That goes in pretty deep. It's probably a woodchuck, maybe a fox, probably a woodchuck. The livestock guardian dogs keep the coyotes away. But because the coyotes are kept away, we have a higher than normal groundhog or woodchuck population here around the farm. It's just one of those tricky things when it comes to balancing your farm's ecosystem that you got to just figure out like how to work with. And the reality is there is no perfect solution. Yeah, we're definitely catching flies here. I've actually started lining these with fly paper more often. So lining the coop and this, rather than keeping out the separate garbage cans, just because it streamlines my workflow a little bit and seems about as effective. Hey, Kels, come on, Kels, fresh grass, come on. That was perfect, Joseph. Hey, Kels, come on, Kels, fresh grass, come on. Hey, Kels, come on. Belle, what are you doing? You're on the wrong side of the fence. Come on, head over there, come on. Let's go. Chop, chop. Go back with everybody else. Yeah, Abby is really bossy when it comes to the animals, even the cattle. She wants to make sure they're in a certain spot. If they're not, she will redirect them. I know that's just her livestock guardian instinct a little bit, but it still can create its own set of challenges. Are you calves creating mischief again? I'd be annoyed if you weren't so adorable. So I was just out here setting up tomorrow's paddocks and made a sad discovery. You guys look at this? Whole bunch of feathers. And then over here, there's some more feathers. And then over here, there's some more feathers. And more feathers over here. And even more feathers over here. I'm not seeing a dead chicken. Like if I'm trying to play detective here and figure out what happened to that chicken, my guess is that based on the number of feathers, it wasn't just, you know, basic molting or chickens fighting, which, you know, happens all the time, and you'll have lots of feathers over by the coop. Clumps of lots of feathers like this in a certain spot would indicate that that's a chicken that was eaten by a predator. And if I'm trying to deduce which predator that could have been, it's definitely not a raccoon or like a weasel or something like that, because I would still find a carcass. Given that there's nothing left, I would say the most likely candidates are either a coyote or a bobcat. If it was an aerial predator, I would actually think that they probably bring it further away. You know, my chickens are over there. The cattle were over there, so they were a little bit further away from the cattle. And so that happened like a day or two ago. That's a decent spot. And if I was gonna try to guess as to what actually happened, my guess is that I had a chicken go broody, and then that broody chicken was sitting on some eggs somewhere around here. And while they were sitting on their eggs, they didn't get locked up at night. And so all it takes is a sneaky coyote walking around here at night, finding a loose chicken out in the pasture for them to be able to grab it. It's kind of frustrating, and maybe it does go to show that I do need a dog up here. You know, this year I've been testing out a new way of raising chickens where I don't use any poultry netting whatsoever, and I just let them go free range. The reason I do that is because I've probably was spending about 2 hours a week putting up and taking down chicken netting, and I was trying to say, hey, is there a quicker, faster way to do what I'm doing? And so the chores that used to take 2 hours now only take a half an hour. But the one negative consequence I've seen is when some of the chickens decide to go broody, they will wander off somewhere out in yonder pasture, and that's where they'll set up a nest and try to get a clutch of eggs going. And so I've had a couple of situations this year where I've had chickens go all over the place and I have to break up their nests. and then they keep trying to set up nests that put them in harm's way. And so if I had to guess what happened to that chicken, my thought would be that that chicken probably started a nest and a coyote came along in the middle of the night and snatched it, made it a quick meal over there, and there's nothing else to find because it ate everything else. What do you think, Dorian Gray? Is that a decent theory? I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep doing this for the rest of the fall, but I gotta reevaluate how I do it all for next year. Like I said, farm life is just a series of constant tweaks and improvements. You're late, girl. All the other birds are already eating all the food. You better go get it. All right, Toby dog. Let's see if the Goat Pro worked out, huh? Is Larn around here? Oh, Larn. I'm looking for Larn the goat. Hey, boys. How's it going, Larny? I'm really curious. Here, I'm going to take this off you. Let's see what your adventure was like, huh? Look, it's my buddy Alfred.
My buddy Alfred, he lives on down the road. He's a wizard with machines, a genius in blue jeans. Let's stop and say hello.
So Alfred, what you got going on here?
Building a patio and a wall. Working on the subgrade right now. Pulled out a bunch of debris, concrete and burdocks, everything else, and
it's actually where the old walk-in cooler used to be.
That's what that was.
Yeah, so the house and the barn used to be connected, but when we bought it, we couldn't even insure the house because the condition of the barn was considered the house because it was all the same structure. Oh. So we pretty quickly demoed just like the structure that was here just to separate them the 10 feet we needed to for insurance purposes, and got homeowners insurance and then was able to treat this separate. But then it's been just kind of sitting as an eyesore for, I don't know, 7 years or so, 8 years, I guess.
Yeah, it's been some pretty rugged.
But it'll be exciting. It's gonna be pretty cool. This will be basically, the plan is kind of patio. Like Alfred said, he's building this pretty cool wall with, I don't know, it's gonna be some of that rock, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be fieldstone. The wall is gonna be fieldstone with granite accents, stone coming out of my quarry.
Yeah, and it'll be cool because I'll end up actually putting in like an outdoor kitchen essentially right about there. So you guys will probably end up see some cooking happening out here too. How are things at the quarry?
Since the storm, July 10, I've been up there once. The road was washed out and I just haven't had the time to go back and repair that road. I mean, I need to get up there soon.
It's been a tough summer.
It's been really tough.
There's no other way to put it. I mean, you've been dealing with a big brunt of it too, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's just tricky to work on that road because there's nowhere to turn around. It's too tight, so I got to be able to back all the way up, half a mile up the road, and it's just, the logistics are tricky. So it's been a problem I haven't been willing to confront just yet.
Looking really good, man. I'm excited, and I know Allison's really excited. All right, Toby dog, where's the goats? There they are. Come on, boys, I got a surprise for you. Barney, we're gonna get you first. All right, just cleaned off Barney's goatee. Abby, please don't eat that. Telly, I need you next. I gotta clean off your goatee. Oh, cool. Oh. Telemachus just headbutted me while I tried to shave his goatee. I think I'm gonna have to take a different approach. Telly, that was not very nice. Come on, boys. I'm gonna let you go back in your goat area. Come on, Telemachus. So just take a minute. See, this is not too bad. Almost got it all off. Hang on.
I never thought I'd have to be goat shearing.
There we go, we're done. This is just how we have to clean up the goatees. I know, you're mad at me. I know, I'm sorry, Telemachus. I am so sorry.
Here, Telemachus, you get extra.